Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ghost Train. I am your host, Marcus Diaz, and this. Oh wait. Uh, Figure this out. We'll figure this out. Okay. Sorry about that. So yes, I am your host, Marcus Diaz, with you tonight. We're still trying to hammer down this damn intro. It's very, very complicated.
It's being a real pain in the ass.
Did you even hear any music this time?
Didn't hear jack shit.
Oh shit. Sorry for the minute of silence. I'll figure this out eventually. So, that's a bummer. All right. Well, that's all right. We'll get it out of the way. Let's go ahead and get on and meet our guests tonight. We'll go ahead and start off with an old friend of ours and other guest to the show that has been here before, Shane Adams. Shane from Fort Worth, Texas. Shane, what's going on? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here and looking forward to tonight's show.
Well, cool. We're glad that you're here. Now, from Osawatomie, Kansas, I think I said that right, is an old friend of mine. Yeah, Osawatomie, Kansas. Old friend of mine, Steve Polley. Steve, glad you're here.
Hey, thanks for having me, and looking forward to the discussion tonight.
Okay, so that's everybody. Skip Talbot should be here eventually. I think he's mending the child, as we all know. So you know how that goes. Man, I can't believe it. That's too. Okay, man, we'll figure this out. I'm so bummed about that damn intro music.
We are struggling this weekend.
Oh yeah, I mean yesterday we had a show and we had to start a little late. I don't even remember why we started late, but it was not really cool. But hey, you know what? We're still early on. No one really watches the show anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
They watch the archive though.
Yeah, they're gonna watch once we get bigger and bigger, we're gonna have people watch the archive and be like, man, look at these amateurs.
We'll delete all those videos. It never happened if they can't find it.
Yeah, if it's that easy. All right, so how's y'all's guys' winter so far? I mean, we're almost towards the end of January, so how's the winter been so far?
What's
for you
winter?
guys? Yeah. Well, you live in Dallas. Yeah, I mean, in Fort Worth, y'all don't really get a winter too much. Y'all just get a little chilly and some ice every now and then.
If we have a day, and I'm talking about a 24-hour period in a calendar year from January 1st to December 31st, if it's below freezing for 24 straight hours, that's amazing here. I mean, this place sucks.
Yeah, well, lucky you. How about up there in Osawatomie, Kansas there, Steve? How's it going up there?
We haven't had much of a winter. There's been hardly any moisture. We've had maybe 2 weeks of a cold snap, and the only way I got around it is to escape to Mexico. So it hasn't been too bad so far. I guess I'll put it that way.
Well, that's good. At least you guys are somewhat better off than us. I think everyone heard about quite a bit of snow we had here in Amarillo a couple of days ago. I guess Thursday.
Oh yeah, I know.
Everyone knows. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. All right, we get a foot of snow, and we freak out. That's official. So.
The Northeast
is a big
wiped
deal.
off the map, they say. So.
I'm sorry, Steve? Didn't hear him.
Yeah.
What did you say, Steve?
I was just saying that everybody's freaking out about the Northeast. It's the end of the world up there. So.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be historic.
Yeah, big ass nor'easter. Yeah, for the 3rd time this year, right? It's gonna be historic.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. They're getting pretty hammered up there right now. Dan, I saw you saying earlier you wish you were up there in the snow with your gear and stuff.
We have to take it seriously because we have people up there. So hopefully it doesn't, but until it doesn't, we're going to go ahead and assume it does. We made the phone calls today, and of course they're like, "Oh, we didn't know it was going to be that bad. So yeah, go buy some canned goods, and you have a gas stove, so you lucked out there. But basically, prepare to live like a caveman for 2 or 3 days."
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a bummer. Well, yeah. What's really been interesting, and I think James, you've seen it too. We've seen. It looks like down the line, there's going to be a nice ridging pattern going up on the East Coast, which is going to allow this pretty deep closed low to sit out there in California for a few days. Possibly bringing torrential rains to the northern Mexico region, West Texas, and southern New Mexico. So
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like a little bit. It's definitely a ways down the line, but that thermal ridge that the GFS was progging about a week and a half from now, it's getting closer and closer. It's still showing up, and then it gradually begins to kind of traipse east into the Midwest and Eastern Seaboard. So hopefully that holds. That'd be really nice.
yeah, one thing I noticed just on the 18Z run today was the first time I saw that closed low was coming over the south part of the U.S. with moisture to work with. Looks like some good moisture starting to make its way up into the southern Texas region. Not sure if I'm ready to be chasing southern Texas yet, but hey, whatever. If there's going to be tornadoes, I might as well, right?
Hey, we were talking about that last night, Tim, in that area between like Fort Stockton and Midland or whatever. You can never count it out. Maybe get to February NATO, right?
Yeah, that kind of South Plains near the Mexican border. I don't know, man. That's kind of an iffy area. So
Kind of get.
Yeah, I don't want to have to go through Customs and Border Patrol to get a tube in February. I can go to Oklahoma and get that done.
yeah,
I'll just wait till May.
exactly. Actually, I chased November 22nd way down south. Like we were, I think, 10 miles from the Mexican border, and yeah, we actually had to go through Border Patrol checkpoint. And that was the first time I think I ever did that during a storm chase, was actually going through a checkpoint. So,
try going through a checkpoint
last.
at Border Control when you're driving a repo that you don't know what the hell's been done to it.
Yeah, it gets a little sketchy, I guess. So.
Yeah, that was not fun because it didn't occur to me until my buddy, because there were two vans, not passenger cars, vans. So obviously, more room. He's up ahead, and he told the guy at the day. The guy basically told him, "What country are you in?" The guy, he looks at him because it was way too easy. He's like, "What?" He's like, "What country are you in?" He's like, "United States." And he just pointed him on, and he told the guy that I was with him, and he just waved me through. But I'm sitting there thinking, "Oh my God!" I look around, I've got a fucking, like a 12-seat passenger van. I don't know who's driven this. It could have drugs in the panels. We're way down in Texas, so it was a little unnerving. I've never been to a checkpoint before like that far to the south, so I don't want to ever do that again. It's not the way I want to spend my day.
See, a family member went down to El Paso not too long ago, and he crossed into Juarez briefly because some idiot he with wanted to get authentic Mexican food in Juarez, which, I mean,
Jesus.
Yeah, so first off, this person that he's with is an idiot. On the other hand, they stop at Border Patrol, and, they put him in the one line, and they, ask him, like, can we please search your car or whatever, please get out, yada, yada, yada. And they stop mid-search because I don't remember what the guy said, but he said something so mind-bogglingly stupid that it was clear that this man cannot be smuggling drugs back from Mexico. Like, it was just...
Yeah, that's the way to do it. It's just play dumb.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I believe you can get authentic Mexican food anywhere but Mexico. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Mexican food, but sometimes that stuff down there is a little tricky with the...
I don't care if I'm hungry. It fills me up and good.
You never know what kind of meat. You never know where the meat comes from. Let's put it that way. So they might just go harvest the local dogs or whatever, or something. I don't know. So yeah. So while we're waiting for Skip, I guess we can go ahead and jump into this, guys. Let's talk about one of our topics today, which is chase partners, or chase solo, whatever you prefer. I know some guys do solo chasing, and that works out for them just fine. I don't know about you guys. I actually prefer a chase partner. Having that extra set of eyes is really helpful a lot of times. But let's go ahead and go kind of around the room here and talk about what you guys prefer for now. Steve, how about we'll start with you. So what do you prefer, chase partner or chase solo?
I prefer a chase partner mainly because there's too much going on. I mean, one, you're trying to drive, and that's first and foremost, obviously. Keep the car on the road. I know this could probably be another whole show, but there's been so many incursions, if you will, that's happened in the last year or so that I just can't get my head around it. And I don't know if they're chasing solo. I don't know all the stories, obviously, but chasing, and driving is the first thing. And of course, if you got a partner, you can work off each other's strengths too. Someone may be a Mario Andretti type driver, and the other person may be really good at forecasting and has to have their head in the computer. So it kind of depends on who you're chasing with, and what those attributes are, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you kind of get people's specialties when you storm chase. There's some people that are really good at navigating and can read a map very well. That you kind of want behind the computer, in the passenger seat. Sometimes you got some good wheelmen, someone that can just drive the wheels off a car that you need in the driver's seat. Because there's some tricky situations where you can't grandpa your way around. You've got to get the hell out of it.
And there's, hopefully you're in the right spot. I mean, obviously that doesn't happen every time, but it's nice to be underneath the building, the building cumulus, and be right underneath that within 10 miles. That kind of makes you feel good about yourself, but obviously that doesn't happen every time. And being able to be in the right spot, of course, does help with that. But as far as having a partner, you guys got to mesh. You got to be able to put up with each other for hours on end in the middle of I-70, in the middle of Kansas, trying to get home late at night, keep each other awake, that kind of thing. You don't want somebody that you're going to chase with. It's going to fold up like a wilted flower at midnight, and you got 3 in the morning to get home, that type of thing too. So somebody keep you engaged too, I guess, is a good thing.
Yeah, that's. I admit that's one of my downfalls. I kind of have an issue with staying awake and whatnot, especially at night, and especially after a really stressful chase. You just can't help but just fall asleep. And but sometimes I can get it done. Sometimes if I just load myself up with insanely ungodly amounts of caffeine and energy drinks, I could probably stay awake for at least another 8 hours. So.
Yeah.
Shane, how about you? What do you prefer? And kind of tell us about your situation and your perfect chase partner, so to speak.
Well, I have done mostly partners. I think most people have. Mainly when I was younger, because we were all broke dicks, and if we didn't all pool our money, none of us could chase. So it was me and like 3 or 4, 5, 6 guys that were just dreamers and didn't want to work for a living and thought we could change the world being tornado chasers. And then we grew up and then decided that we loved it, so we had to figure out ways to have real jobs and chase. So mostly because of all that, I always had partners, and the partners thing is really good. The pros list is way longer than the cons, I think, because you've got the camaraderie, you've got the financial help. And the best part is when you see something and you're coming back, you get to share it and you get to talk about stories and you're high-fiving and everything's great. And it's a good feeling. It's not even, it transcends chasing. It's a human thing. You do something incredible with other people, and you want to share it. And you want to all experience that and experience it together and celebrate and all that good stuff. On the other hand, chasing solo is really cool. Obviously, because you don't have to run your decisions by anybody. And I will admit that I'm a control freak. I want it my way every time. I don't want to, if I don't want pickles, I don't want pickles. If I want lettuce, cheese, tomato, and no onions, I don't want onions. I don't like to compromise. I'm really hard. Unless you're the kind of person that has the same approach that I do. And fortunately for me, most of my ex-partners either didn't care and just let me make the decisions or thought like I did. I really didn't keep a partner if I had them in the past that we would butt heads, philosophically on how to target. So I've never really had a huge issue with butting heads because we couldn't agree where to go. The issue that I always had with a partner was me and this person would pick the same, he'd call me at like 6 o'clock on the morning of a chase. Hey man, where are you thinking? Woodward. Yeah, me too. We'd pick the same town every time, but we'd get within 10 miles of a storm and we would completely disagree on how to handle getting up to it. So, there's that kind of friction. Chasing solo, like I said, you don't have to run your decisions by anybody, but it's also very lonely, even if you score, because if you drive to Indiana by yourself and you don't see anything, then you're driving back 12 hours by yourself. You don't have anybody to share it with. You're trying to stay awake. And, if it's a short chase, that's easy. It's fun, whatever. But if it's a long chase, it helps to have someone there to not only share the memories with, but to keep your ass awake. So, in the old days when I was single, it was always me by myself or me and a bunch of broke dick guys like me. Now I'm with my girlfriend, and she's really good at all the technical crap that I hate. All I have to do is just I can get in the car and drive, look at my paper map, and just go. She does, when we stream, she did all the streaming crap. She does all the social media, anything technical. She handles it, and because I hate that crap. I like being out there, but I don't like doing the work because I'm just an ass like that. So she does all of that for me, and if I had to choose, I really don't have a preference. If I can get out there and chase, I don't care if I'm in a car with 3 other people or with my girlfriend or by myself. I just want to be out there. So at the end of the day, being there in front of the storm is really all that matters to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. You got to have someone that kind of doesn't try to push you into doing something else that you don't want to, or going somewhere you don't want to. That's kind of a big issue with me sometimes, is having people with me, and or being with the group. Kind of tagging along with the group, and not being able to go where I want to go. We got to come to a consensus, when sometimes I just don't want to come to a consensus. I want to go here. I don't want to go over there. I don't want to play the middle. I just want to go there. So, yeah, that's really good point there. How about you, James? How's your situation?
So I've actually never chased solo before, but I definitely prefer chasing with a partner. Mainly, my biggest thing with chasing with a partner too is actually, just like safety reasons. I mean, I'm not infallible when I'm out there, and if I make a mistake, I want someone to call me on my bullshit and point it out to me. And also, kind of like, I mean, I like forecast. I like doing my own forecast and living and dying by my forecast, but having someone else there that can kind of work the kinks out of it and point out stuff that I may have glazed over is really helpful. But by the same token, I also, kind of like you said, Marcus, I really hate chasing with groups. Like, I cannot stand it. It makes me want to rip my hair. If there's more than 3 people in the car, including me, then I'm probably not going to have a good time, because chasing by committee is just not fun. And a lot of times, if you're caravanning with other people, say a caravan full of meteorology majors, who have no idea what the hell they're doing, but assume that since they've taken classes, they know what they're doing, it gets really old really fast. So but definitely, one or two people to chase with is definitely kind of my sweet spot.
Yeah, I don't really tell too many people this, but the whole reason I hate admitting this. This is one of those things you just hate to admit. The whole reason I missed Roselle, Kansas, was because I was with a group of chasers out of Norman, and yeah, most of them were students, but one of them was my old chase partner, Brady Kendrick, and I kept telling him, I was like, man, we should probably go north. We should probably go north, because we were up in northwest Kansas northwest Oklahoma, kicking around with those storms, and we're just like, come on, man, we need to go north. And he's like, oh, they don't want to go north, they want to stay south. And I'm like, God. And then eventually it got to the point where I was like, dude, let's just ditch them. You get in my car and let's go north, and we'll leave them here. And that didn't happen, and by that time, I think the storm was already in progress and producing tornadoes. So I just kind of I was like, whatever, I'll just stay on the stuff down south and hope for the best. Hope that once it gets to like Medicine Lodge, it'll do something. But of course, it didn't.
That's that Norman fungus, man. You get a good chaser that's got their head about them, and they go to Norman, and what they do in Norman at OU is they teach young people who would otherwise be fantastic chasers how to find out what's wrong with a setup or a situation, and you get things like what happened to you that day. They overthink themselves, their brain swells, their dicks shrink, and they fail.
It's actually a very good way to put it. So, I will never make that mistake again.
Welcome, Skip, by the way. Welcome, Skip.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, welcome, Skip. There's Skip, fashionably late.
Yeah.
Fatherly late.
I had a baby in a tub. And I thought we were doing it at 8 because, last night's schedule was different, so I don't know why I thought it was the same time.
Yeah, well, it happens, and the only thing that matters is that you're here now. So there's Skip munching on food. So yeah, so my new rule is if there's gonna be a group of chasers that is gonna chase with me, the only rule, and this sounds like a dick thing to do, but this is the only way it's gonna work. I have to be in charge. Everybody listens to what I say, and everyone follows what I do. If you don't want to do that, then you can just break off and go do your own thing.
It's not a dick move. It's a smart move.
You need a captain in the ship. You need like one captain. You got two captains in a ship, you're gonna have problems. So it's a captain should take from his first.
Riker stayed the first commander for a reason because he knew that Picard was a great captain.
Yeah, I mean, you got too many cooks in the kitchen if there's two people trying to run the chase. So.
Yeah, this worked out. I did this March 18, 2012. I actually led 2 vehicles, 6 people total, to that tornado. I led them because we were up in Tampa that day, March 18, 2012, and that storm was going down by Childress, and I was like, all right, we just need to bail now. Let's go. Come on, drive fast. But we all bailed, and luckily we caught the show. We got every tornado that storm had to offer. And that's how it should work. I basically made the calls. I made the navigation calls and the call to go ahead and break off and head down there. So, yeah, that's the only way it works. Yeah, exactly. So, Skip, if you don't mind telling everyone at home how it works with you, because I know you kind of have an interesting partnership.
Sure.
And just kind of explain how it works out with you and Jennifer.
Yeah. So I've got a little bit of an unorthodox setup, I guess. I chase with a woman, and we're both married to different people, which raises some eyebrows. And I think it was a little awkward at first, because especially more so for me, because I'm more of a geeky guy. But I think it's kind of old hat to Brindley. But after a while, it's no big deal. It's just one of your chase partners, and you don't think twice about it. Leaving for days on end with a woman and to run around the plains, and it's just routine. But yeah, we make a great team, and I've chased with a variety of people, and I think that Brindley and I work so well together is because we're both doing different ends of the chase. Whereas I'm more technically orientated, I'm a little bit more on the meteorology side, even though I'm not a meteorologist. But I'm doing kind of the forecasting, the navigation, the radar work. Brindley is eyes in the sky. She's giving me some visual input. She's doing a lot of the documentation of the chase. She's taking all the photographs. She's doing kind of the social end of it and kind of the visual end of it. And I'm doing kind of the data driving end of it. And so we're both doing our own facets of the chase, and because of that, we work really, really well together. We're not second guessing each other at all. She's not saying, hey, I think the cap's going to break down here, not up here, and I'm not telling her, hey, you need to be photographing this and this and this. We're each doing our own thing, and we wind up really capturing the chase and really working well. So I can focus on driving and the radar. Brindley can focus on getting the pictures. And because of that, we both work really, really well together. And I've had some partners in the past where we didn't work well together. And I've chased with a lot of people, and it works out pretty well. But anytime I chase with another chaser who's like me, there's always a little bit of argument. There's always a little bit of conflict there. There was one time where I told my chase partner as he was turning around, don't drive in the grass. And he made the turnaround in the grass, and we got stuck in the mud, and we missed Quinter because of that. There's times where we're driving around, and instead of picking a target, we compromise on our target, and we wind up in between the storms, and that's the worst. I mean, you're going one spot or the other. You never compromise. So so you miss tornadoes from both ends, and that's the worst. I've got a couple of nightmare stories if you have time for it on chase target.
Definitely. I love nightmare stories.
I was still a newbie chaser, and it was 2005, my second real full year of chasing. And I met a woman on Storm Track, and she might be listening to this, but I'll tell the whole story. I met a woman on Storm Track, and she seemed like me, interested, wanted to get out there and chase, and wanted to split gas. I'm like, great, this is going to be perfect. I met up with her. We took her car because it had less mileage on it, and we're driving out there. And as we're driving out there, she starts to complain about, and we left from Wisconsin. Target was central Minnesota. Not too bad. We're driving out there, and she starts to complain about how far we're driving. And this is a big red flag now. This is getting my attention. Like, uh-oh. And as we're going, a check tire pressure light comes on. And she's like, well, the tires, there's something wrong with the tires. And I'm like, okay, we'll stop at a gas station. We'll check them out with the little pressure gauge. She's like, no, no, no. We have to go to a dealership. I was like, what? A dealer? So find a Ford dealership. We stop. We get the car looked at. We get it checked out. It's fine. We're back on the road. Then we're going and we're going. And she's like, it's so far. I can't believe we're driving this far. Then this is too much mileage. And bitch, 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 moan, moan, moan the whole way out there. And I'm like, crap, this is a disaster. What a nightmare. Finally, she puts her foot down. And now it's early evening. Storm still hadn't fired. And we're in Minnesota now. And she's like, we're not going any further. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to make the best of the situation. I'm like, let's stop and have dinner. We'll have a nice, long, leisurely dinner, and then we'll look at the weather, and we'll see what it's doing then afterwards, and after we recuperated. We had dinner, didn't look at data. Afterwards, we fired up the radar, and boom, the dry line had lit up like a Christmas tree, like supercell, 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 tornado watch. And I tell her that. I'm like, we got all of these tornado, and they're tornado warned now. And they're 90 miles away. So I'm thinking, we'll never make it. We've missed the show. I didn't say that, but I'm like, we've got all these tornado-warned supercells. And she's like, oh, really? Well, okay. And I'm like, yeah, let's go for them. Let's get them, knowing that we're going to miss the show. So we start driving. And the weird thing was she said, we can drive north, but we can't drive any further west. As if that makes a difference on how far we were going or something. I don't know. So I'm like, okay, we'll go north and not west. And I found a highway that actually went north but then slowly turned west because we had to go west to intercept. That's where the storms were. So we're going west, and we get on this little LP in central Minnesota. The date was June 29, 2005. And a little LP in central Minnesota out by Mankato, west of there, Medalia. And in comes this rain-free base, a funnel drop. As soon as we get on it, there's a funnel, boom, touchdown, a little land spout-like debris cloud. It's my second tornado. I was blown away. I was awestruck and like mesmerized, not only because it's my second, but because we made it after all of that. It filmed its entire tornado, and then the first words out of her mouth after it was over was, that was pretty cool, but it would have been better if it was an F4. Like, could have wrangled her and left her on the side of the road if it wasn't her car that we took. So the whole way home, bitch, 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 moan, moan, moan. I can't believe how far we drove. Terrible.
The best part about this?
Don't go with random people that you meet on Storm Track. Know who you're going with.
Oh man, I would have killed her. I would have killed her.
These aren't jokes. We really would leave them on the side of the road.
Yeah, I want to get into my story. I think a couple of you guys know about my situation I had, especially last year, and yeah, I had a pretty bad issue with a different person that we were partners with for not just 2013 but 2014 too, and but luckily that's over with. I don't have to worry about that. I can go back to just chasing on my own or with whoever I trust, and you know, I do have. So let's talk about this real quick. You guys said you have partners. Shane, you said your girlfriend is your partner, so luckily she lives with you. Steve, well, I know Skip, you're kind of a far distance from your chase partner, and so am I. My actual chase partner that I officially call my chase partner is James Seiler. He lives in Oklahoma City, and you know, here I am in Amarillo. It's a 4-hour difference, so it's kind of weird to say that he's my chase partner when there's a big 4-hour difference. But there's been several times where we can meet up with each other. He either comes over here or I'll go over there, pick him up, we go chase, and then kind of go back to our respective locations. So, Steve, I mean, your partner, I guess I would imagine it's still Corey and Chris.
Well, that was a few years ago. I've moved an hour and a half from them. So, I mean, that's not like 4 hours like you got, but I've kind of settled in with chasing quite a bit. Like, I don't know if you know him, Shane Kirk. He's the lightning dude. And we do a lot of chasing. And then I always have my chase partner. We go on a chasecation in the summer. We load our Suburban up, and we've ended up in Canada last year. Didn't see much, but we ended up there anyway. Montana, we've done quite a bit of that. And especially when we're doing the chasecation, you talk about the partners thing. I've done the solo thing, and the workload gets gets to be too much, especially if you're dealing with a TV station or networks and that kind of thing. But when we're doing the chasecation, myself, Jesse Risley, Dr. Tom Williams, he'll go. Me and Brandon Sullivan, we've chased quite a bit together. We went out several times with him last year. And you get in the comfort zone, I think, when you're chasing with certain people that you know, and you kind of know what everybody's limits are, what they're willing to do, what they're not willing to do, and what they're good at. Kind of work off their strengths. Like when we go on the chasecation, we've got 3 laptops open, and sometimes that can be bad. If you got 3 forecasters in there, they're really good at forecasting. Then you get, okay, now what are we going to do? Do we go 200 miles to the west? Do we go 200 miles to the east? Do we play this area? Do we play that area? And, it can get kind of cumbersome sometimes, but that's who I've kind of settled in with, chasing with in the last few years, and it seems to work out pretty good. So.
Well, that's good. Always having that good kind of mesh in interest and personality is really good. And yeah, so Skip, I mean, like I said, you're a few hours away from your chase partner. So how do you guys kind of meet up, and how does that work out with you two?
Well, first of all, Brinley and I met on a chase. He was with Lawback on the March 22, 2011 day, that Creston, Iowa tornado. And so met up with Brinley there, and she was looking for a chase partner because she had just moved from Denver to Milwaukee. So she used to chase with Blawback and the Twistex guys back then when she was in Denver, and now she's looking to meet up with new people. And at the time, I was in Chicago. So in Milwaukee is only like an hour and a half out of Chicago, so it's really not far at all. So it was convenient back then. I have since moved down to Springfield, so we're a few hours apart now. But she just hops on the Amtrak, and she gets work done, she can sleep, and it's really convenient for her to just hop the train, come down to Springfield, and then we'll leave from there. And it's really on the way still if we're going to the Southern Plains. So, I mean, my move down to Springfield puts us 3 hours closer to Oklahoma. So it works out pretty well. And if we are going Northern Plains, say South Dakota or something, or North Dakota, what we'll do is I'll drive north, and we'll rendezvous in Madison, and we'll leave a car. So, and that works out really well still, because nobody's going out of their way then, and this is distance we would have had to driven anyways. So even though we're hours apart, it still works out really well.
Yeah, so yeah, that's interesting to actually leave a car. I think James and I have done that, where he leaves a car in Altus or whatever. So it's a little tricky and a little sketchy, but I guess it works out if you find the right spot. James, how about you?
I actually so I live with my chase partner. We both go to OU. We're both meteorology majors. We were thankfully both chasers before we were meteorology majors, so that hasn't really, I don't know, it hasn't affected us so much. We already had our kind of style down and our forecasting nuances down before we came to Oklahoma. And yeah, so I just live I'm right across the hall from him in this apartment, and we use his Jeep. I don't have a car out here right now, so we use his old '95 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and it works out pretty well. I mean, we get along pretty well. We don't butt heads forecasting. Very rarely do we have like navigation disagreements, so it works out pretty well. And then we'll occasionally have a few other people that we know well come along, and occasionally we get drawn into a I don't know what you want to call it, a school of meteorology caravan up from hell is what I'd like to call it, actually. But that happens very rarely. So it works out. It's a good deal. And the other big thing, we're both from Cincinnati too, which so yeah.
Yeah, that's good too. I guess you're right there. So,
Yep.
so now that we kind of talked about location and partners and stuff, let's talk about splitting the finances, because I think that's really important, and I think this is really important for especially for some of the newbies. Especially for some of the newbies that want to like partner up with the veteran, because they got to understand what they're about to get into. First off, you newbies need to shut up and let us make the decisions. That's rule number one. And then rule number two is splitting the cost fairly, and that includes fuel. That includes room if you got to get a hotel. You're probably going to pay for your own food, more than likely. Sometimes you'll get a nice guy that kind of has a cooler full of stuff to eat from, but yeah, to me, I think depending on how many people there are, you just kind of divide the gas out and the room out evenly from there. I think that's kind of the general rule for everyone, I'm sure. Is that how it goes with you, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, of course, splitting it up makes it cheaper for everybody else. But, and that was the main, probably in the beginning when I started, that was the main driving factor was we got to buy gas, and best way to do it just split. And you talk about the splitting of the money. Well, what happens when you do see that tornado? You do see Roselle, you want to sell that footage. That gets into a whole nother thing. Okay, who was driving? I know. Who was driving? Who shot the footage? For me, how I do it is if someone else is driving, I'm in the captain's chair, if you will, behind the computer, and I'm shooting footage, and they're driving, and they got me to the tornado, I'm going to give them some money. We worked that out prior to. That way there's no hard feelings when they sell to 3 networks, as in the past I've sold my own footage. I'm going to do something a little different this year on that, but in the past I've sold my own footage. And whoever helped me get to that tornado, I'm going to split it with them in that car. I feel it's right, because we all kind of come to that decision. We all put money into it. We've all made an investment in it. Like I said, it's just like an investment. So money, that's the quickest way you can break up friendships or chase partners real fast is over money. And that goes with anything in life, obviously. So that's just my attitude. I don't think it could probably be a whole nother show, but I'll kind of just leave it at that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so how about you, Shane? How does it work with you financially? How does that get split up?
We pay our own way. We pay as we go. Like I said earlier, back in the day, I had a bunch of broke dick assholes just like me, a bunch of single guys, and we all took our hamburger money for the week and pooled it together and chased. And as we got older, people come and go. You know how it is. There were times when we had a really tight core, and we were good friends on and away from the chase. There have been literally 4, 5, 6 chases in a row where I not only chased and saw tornadoes and filmed tornadoes, but ate and traveled for free because I had nothing, and my partners bailed my ass out. And I've been on the other side of that, where I have basically, I saved money. Remember 2008 when gas went up to $380 a barrel or whatever it was, $3.80 a gallon. I sold videos on eBay for 6 months, and all the money I made in 6 months selling chase DVDs, I burned it all up in the first 3 chases of 2008 because gas was $3.80 a gallon. But at the time, my 2 main partners who had vehicles when I didn't were also broke. So they had the car, I had the money, we put it together, we made it happen. And we're friends. I mean, that's just how it is. Whether it's chasing or life or bars or chicks or whatever it is, when you got your bros, you take care of each other. When someone's down and broke, everyone else picks them up, and vice versa. When your friend's down, you pick them up when you have money. So it was basically survival. It was just survival, and and whoever had the money, it didn't matter. We were all in it together, and whoever had the money, it wasn't the important part. The important part was that we all got to chase because whoever had the money forked it up, and we went for it, and that's just how it was. And a lot of those guys have since grown up and have families and kids and are regular people, and I'm still.
Yeah. So yeah, that's good. I guess just helping each other out. That's kind of what it's about, and that's really what helps us out too. Is you get people that can help you out and kind of share that experience together. So, James, how about you? How do you split your finances on Chase?
Usually it's mainly just gas money. If it's three of us, we'll all go out to an ATM, get it 20 out each, throw it in the pot because most of the time we don't chase, multiple days in a row. It's very rare that that happens. So we can just kind of, pay as we go, and everyone fends for their own food, unless someone's like absolutely like dead ass broke, and then we, like get their dinner or whatever. But it's never really been a problem financially for me, except for like I usually don't have the ability to chase more than maybe 3 days in a week before that starts getting a little bit out of hand, and most of us.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent setup. I like it. So, and we've never had like I don't think
That's 12 chases a month.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us have ever had any like problems with not paying back a large amount of money to somebody we've chased with. And I think it took me like 2 weeks to get somebody like $40 or something for gas from Chase, and that was the worst of it. So
Yeah. So I have a quick little story about kind of splitting expenses. Back in 2012, we took a 1 week vacation to Chase. It was me, James, Tony Prop, and Brady Kendrick. And so we decided, all right, well, we'll just split the money evenly. We'll split the rooms, we'll split the gas, whatever. The thing was, is Brady had a limited amount of money because he was just getting out of high school and getting ready to start chasing with us. So the thing was, is we used his vehicle. We used his Jeep. He had a 2000 model Jeep Grand Cherokee V8 four-wheel drive. So this is the worst gas guzzler we've ever seen. And sure enough,
That was
the
his
way the days
contribution.
fell. Yeah. Well, the way the days fell. One day we were chasing New Mexico. The next day the setup was in like central northern North Dakota. So so we had
Been there,
okay.
done
So
that.
yeah, we had to come up with a decision, and in hindsight, probably should have taken just the don't go to North Dakota. Let's just get ready for the next day kind of thing. But instead, we drove all night. Me and Tony, we were switching off driving. We drove all night. He drove from New Mexico to North Platte, and then I drove from North Platte to I think just south of the North Dakota border. And so and then from there, I think someone else took over. But we drove all night. We were exhausted. The thing is his Jeep took so much gas. I think every 2 hours of driving, we had to pull over and fill up. And this is 2012, so the gas is like 350 plus a gallon. So like everybody had to just drop a 20 down on the counter and say, "Here's $60 in gas. Let's fill it up." And that's how much it took. And so we did that. I think we drove that trip alone from New Mexico to North Dakota was 1,100 miles. And then the next day we chased Iowa, which was another 8-hour drive. And then by the time we got to Iowa, this was basically like this was like the fourth or fifth chase we actually went on that week. That's the fourth one. And we got to Iowa, Brady ran out of money. He had no more money. And so I don't know. I don't know if you were with us, Steve. I think we met up with Chris. I think so. We met up at
Johnny.
we met up in Omaha at Spaghetti Works. And yeah, so you know how that place is like kind of like a buffet sort of. You just pay money and then they give you pasta and stuff. So Brady's sitting there, not eating anything because he doesn't have any money, and he's just drinking the water and like I think we were getting like breadsticks and he was eating those. And then we asked the server to give us a plate to go, and she was like, "Oh, sure, no problem." So she gave us a plate of pasta. And as soon as we left, we just gave it to Brady because he didn't have any money for food. So, yeah, that's you gotta be careful because it doesn't take much to run out of money, I guess, on these long trips and stuff. And
No, it does not.
I kind of fear that. I fear that you get pretty deeper into your season, you start going through that chase fund, and you start running out of money, and especially if you're trapped outside of town, you kind of get screwed.
I have a solution for that.
Credit card.
No, pay as you go. Don't have a fund. Just pay as you go.
Well, that works all fine and dandy until it's the end of the month and I don't have any rent money.
Well, you're gonna run out of money either way. It's easier on you mentally if you just pay as you go. Because if you watch a predetermined amount swallow down to nothing and then you gotta go back to the real world, that's horrible. If you just take the chases as they go, you're like, I'm chasing. Now I gotta go to work. To me, that's easier.
Well, I just have this year I'm doing a cash fund. I've been taking cash out of each paycheck, putting it in this little bank of mine, and just doing that. So, Skip, what?
Am I hearing you correctly? Are you actually struggling to chase, and are you really even considering paying for your own shit? I mean, come on, dude. You're struggling you're a chaser. You are a chaser, and you're struggling to get out there, and you're really gonna pay it yourself? You're not gonna do a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter? What the hell?
I mean, once we start getting thousands of views on these shows, then we'll definitely get a Kickstarter going. For every $5, I will send you a hand autograph of a self-portrait for you to hang on your wall. And
so for every $10, I'll donate $1.
For every $100 you give me, I'll be shooting tornado footage, and I'll dedicate that tornado to you on film. How about that?
Here's what I love about this group. Everyone has talked about financial challenges and how they deal with it and how they go about it. And that's not really the important part. The important part is they all do it themselves. James, mine anyway, it may be different on your screen. James, Skip, Steve, you and me, we all figure it out of these, our own fucking pockets. It's amazing. That blows my mind.
Not only that, I have to, and I didn't mention this, I was going to mention this, I had a budget for a new camera. That's a brand new Canon 60D I had to buy. And so I have to even work that in with my normal budget. So, you know what? I need another camera, okay?
Hey, I'll trade you a camera and a high five if you'll take this thing.
What is that? Oh no, it's got the N-word on it.
Oh yeah, it's got the. Hey, that's racist. Just because it's a black camera. Jesus. It's a little Nikon. I don't even know. Cool Pix something rather. Yeah.
Dude, didn't Jeff, what's his name? Jeff Bridges in the 1977 version of 1976 version of King Kong. Didn't he shoot Nikon?
Yeah, I think yeah.
It doesn't matter. Canon and Nikon they're not giants because everyone thinks they suck. There's just a divide. That's all there is. You pick a side, you go. You're going to win either way.
I just choose Canon because I have Canon lenses. So that's the only reason. Really.
I mean, it's not like VHS and Beta. It's Nikon and Canon. I mean, they coexist. They're both awesome.
Yeah.
These guys may not know what that is, though.
Hey, come on, man. We're just a little young, that's all.
Oh, well, I would like to add before we move on to the next topic that there are many single guys who, number one, are single. Number two, don't have children. Number three, are in college. Number four, are having that college paid for that are asking for other people's money. Skip is a man. He has a wife. He has a child. And he pays for it himself. So there is a blueprint, fuckers out there. You just got to not be lazy and figure out how to make it happen for yourself. Sorry, I'm done. That's it. I'm done.
Words of wisdom, right? We're going to make you an example here. You're the kind of poster child of doing it yourself.
So I was fortunate enough to know I wanted to chase when I was in college, and I kind of modeled my life to try and do that. And I think it's easier said than done in most cases, but yeah, pick out a job that lets you chase and work at it. So, because it's a hobby. So, and you need to fund your hobbies. So go do something that lets you have the hobbies you want.
Yeah, last week's episode, that's kind of what we talked about is having a job and how does having a job affect your chasing style and also having a family. And really interesting. I don't know if everyone else caught that, but Dan's numbers that he came up with, 20 years of
That's the
chasing,
fucking depressing shit. It's depressing.
20 years of chasing cost him $150,000. And
I don't want to talk about
that that is yeah, that's just a ridiculous amount of money. But you think about it, it's not hard to do that, I guess, if you do quite a bit. So we really thank Dan for kind of throwing that out there. I think a lot of people kind of wonder how much does this really costing me? Because I think we all just kind of sweep it under the rug, like, you know what, it's a money loss, whatever. I'll just get through it to the next paycheck, or whatever. And I think
You
that's
almost
kind of how it
have to,
goes.
or you won't chase. That's what it comes
Yeah.
down to. You won't chase if you start thinking about it and what you're spending and the money you're putting in the equipment and the vehicle and the gas. You won't chase anymore. You just sit home and cry, literally, because
Yeah.
all your money is going to that. And it's like Skip said, find a job that fits your lifestyle. And unfortunately, I've picked one that I can do that. I'm off in the first week of May till July, so I can just chase my heart's content in the peak season. So,
Holy shit.
it's the key thing there. Pick a profession that fits that.
That's awesome. Can I add something quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't feel sorry for any chaser whose biggest problem on any given day, spring, summer, fall, winter, whatever, is what's my target going to be? If all I had to do on any given day was wake up and figure out where the fuck I wanted to go, holy shit, you guys would know who the hell I am.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we dream of is either having chasing fund itself so it's not such a big hit, or to have so much damn money in the world that you don't even have to worry about what your bank account looks like. You can just chase the target, and that's all you got to do. So
I envy Steve for that. That's amazing. I mean, that you put yourself in that position. I don't know how you did it or what you did, but I commend you. That's awesome. I wish I could do that.
Steve, you're a teacher, am I right?
Yeah, I teach at a university, so it all fell together over a period of about 15 years. So
Yeah, but if you didn't have chasing, you'd still be awesome at life because you're smart.
I don't know about that. It's just kind of the way it worked out anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure his wife has something else to say about that, right?
Well, yeah, yeah. She's pretty understanding, to be honest about it, because if she wasn't, it obviously would not work and do what I do. And I'm sure Skip can speak to that, and Shane can speak to that too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could. So one thing I want to touch on before we actually do, Shane, you mentioned this to me the other day, and I kind of want you to go on a rant about it because I know it's probably something that you kind of have a good passion for. That is the difference between having a mentor and copying your idol. So explain what you meant by that, and something I guess inject some wisdom into the noobs that are watching.
Okay, I won't rant. First off, let me preface this by saying that I'm very control freaky. Obviously, we talked about that earlier, solo versus group chasing. I am the kind of person who I would rather fucking fail for 90% of my whole existence and then get 10% right and get credit for that 10% because I made the decisions and made it happen than kind of skate through and be like an A student, but I've always got like a group of people I have to constantly kiss their ass and thank for it. I think it's important to develop your own style, develop trust within yourself, especially like, let me get off topic for a second, but like you get an El Reno type day, do you want to trust 3 people and 3 cars in your caravan who have been in meteorology school for, 6 months and all of them think they're fucking badasses? Or do you want to be by yourself with 10 years experience knowing that you're about to get munched when that fucking tornado sucks back up to the fucking updraft? I'd rather do it myself, and I've paid for that. I have paid for that greatly, and my stats compared to someone, to other people will show that. There are guys that chased and started after I did, who I had 50 tornadoes ahead of them. They have passed me way beyond, what I've done, but they've done it within groups, with mentors and tours, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, if I see a tornado that has anything to do with anything other than me making a decision to be in that spot to see that tornado, I put an asterisk by that tornado. I don't want to get 12 tornadoes on a day because I chased with my idol, who's way better than me, who just drug me along like he would on any other chase and saw the tornadoes that he would see by himself, and I see him because I'm there. That's not what it's about for me. I don't want to see his tornadoes. I want to see my tornadoes. I want to see the tornadoes that I will find myself. So there's nothing wrong with having a mentor in the respect of like learning what it means to, you know, don't just it's chasing is not. Or here you said you want a message for the newbies. Chasing is not cock and balls. Chasing is cerebral. It's up here. The cock and balls are there. You're a guy. You got cock and balls. They're gonna be there. They're gonna fucking your fucking boner's gonna flap up to a fucking 10, and you're gonna have to move your boner out of your way when you see your first wedge because it's gonna be blocking your eyes because it's gonna be that big. Don't worry about the cock and balls. They're there. Worry about your brain because that's what you have to regulate, figure out how to manipulate, and figure out how to work to keep your cock and balls alive. Because your cock and balls aren't going to save your ass, even though they're neighbors. They're right there next to each other. Your brain is going to save your ass. So don't worry about being a bravado. Don't worry about being a badass. Don't worry about selling your shit and having your name all over, you know, CNN. Worry about getting the shit, coming back home, and telling the people you love your story and living to chase another day. So you don't have to kill someone and emulate them and be a light version of them because that's all you're ever going to be if you just look at someone and go, oh, I want to be that guy. I want to be that person. Look to someone who gives you inspiration. Take that energy and make it your own and do your own thing. And in doing that, oh, it's real easy. You know, let's just say you fucking come right off the boat and Roger Hill's your idol. You can go on a Silver Linings tour and see 90,000 tornadoes in a year. And guess what? You didn't earn any of them. Because you were his passenger, you were his customer. Or you can go 7 or 8 years and fucking fail and get pissed off and question your own self. And then that one day, you, not Roger Hill, not anyone else, you're going to get it right, you're going to make decisions, and you're going to succeed. One tornado 7 years down the road is going to feel so much better, and it's going to taste so much more delicious than the 70,000 you got because you rode the coattails of someone who did all the work and you were just there. You were breathing the air, taking up space, pretty much all you contributed to the effort. Trust me, wait it out, figure it out for yourself, go get your own.
Shane, before we kind of wrap up here, I just want you to say cock and balls one more time, please.
Cock and balls.
There it is.
I tell you what, that the whole cock and balls versus brain, I don't think that just revolves around chasing. I think that's like a life lesson, like. But you know, this is a chasing show, so we'll just keep it chasing.
One more thing, and I'm shutting up. I got a text from a very good friend of mine. Basically, she sums it up. Chasing is not following someone else's spotter network icon. Done.
No, but you know what? When I see, and I'll be the first to admit, if I'm on a storm and I see certain spotter network icons on my storm, I know I made a good decision.
That's true.
It's just verification, you know, pretty much now. So, yeah, I mean, so.
It's like 80 fucking emoticons.
Skip, I think we kind of skipped over you in terms of the financial part of it. I don't know if how it works with you guys though.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good setup, and you know, what we do is we split the costs right down the middle, and we don't keep close tabs on it. Somebody will get this bill, somebody will get that bill, and more or less it's split down the middle. So, and that's what we do, pretty much real 50-50 even, and it helps a lot having a chase partner, being able to split the gas in the rooms. And usually that's how we do it, is I'll get the gas, Brinley gets the rooms, and we kind of make sure it's about even. And it's cheap. And the other way we save money is we bring our food with us. So, and we stop at Subway and restaurants too, but we do pack a really large cooler full of stuff. And it's nice being able to munch on the road, have lunch, have little picnics, wherever you want, whatever you want to do. It's great. So that works out really well. And I think that Brinley and I are both fortunate enough to be in the position where we can both chase and not worry about it too much. It's you know, it's kind of like our spending money, and we do spend a lot on chasing, but it doesn't. I don't think it's killing us to go out there. I do. I have driven for a couple of tours, and I did it because, first of all, it's an experience and a learning opportunity, and I thought it would be fun, and it was. But the other perk to that is that you're driving for a tour. That's chasing that you're getting paid for a little bit. It didn't earn much of anything driving for tours, but I mean, you're out there for 10 days, and that's a paid chase trip. So that, if you get that opportunity, I wouldn't pass it up too. That's a great way to go out there and chase.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I've always wanted to drive for a tour. Yeah, it seems like a really fun thing. Just real quick though, if you guys decide you want to go chase with Skip, remember that Skip and Jennifer are vegans, so they know how to stink up that van pretty good.
It's all vegan, like all day, so it's windows down and watch out.
So are any of you guys available for ride-alongs? I mean, do you kind of open that door up if you got someone willing to go? Steve, how about you? We'll start with you, Steve. Do you have anyone that, would you just, if they said, I want to go chase for my first time or whatever, I'll split the money with you, can I go with you? Do you do that?
I used to do it a lot, and the more I got to thinking about the ramifications if something goes south, I've really backed off of that because it only takes one time and one person to totally ruin your life because of that. And I've gotten to where I just about hardly, if I don't know you and I know that you chase quite a bit, I just don't go with it. I mean, it's just it's nothing personal. It's just, I'm not going to stick my neck out there and in my financial future for something to go wrong, whether it was my fault or not. So I really backed off that a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, it sounds like I met you at the perfect time then, back in 2009.
Right. That's been a while.
Yeah. How about you, James? Ride-alongs, yes or no?
This is gonna sound pretty harsh, but honestly, you can go jack off. I'm probably, if I don't know you, if I've never even heard your name before, haven't ever seen you in person, I'm not gonna let you into the car with me. That's just kind of the nature of what chasing's become now. It's like I don't trust most people.
Yeah. Skip, how about you?
I used to take people with me, and like that woman I didn't know, and other people I knew from online and things like that. And I've had more than one horror story. That was one of them. I had another one. One of my chase partners, Fabian Guerrera, and he was tragically killed in a car accident in 2009. But we used to chase all together all the time in 05, 06, 07. And one day in 07, it was February, a cold core event in Kansas, and he was driving my van, and he was speeding, and I was buried in the computer not paying attention, and we got pulled over. And I look up from the computer to see that we're stopped, and there's flashing lights behind us. And the first thing he says to me, as I'm still getting my bearings here, is, "Skip, we gotta switch seats. I forgot my license." And in kind of the panic of the moment, I did. I jumped in the driver's seat, and he jumped in the back of the van, thinking that this is going to be a bigger problem if he gets pulled over and he doesn't have his license because he might get arrested, and then we're going to get stuck in Kansas, and what else is going to happen then? So I did it, and the officer walks up and he says, "I clocked you doing, I forget what it was, 80-something in a 55." And I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" Like, that's, you're approaching your level there. And we just got a hefty ticket for it, but that was a disaster. And then again, later that day, we actually got stuck in the mud and had to hike to find help. But anyway, that was the last time I chased with him. And there's been a couple other minor incidents, but because of that, I don't really chase with people that I don't know extremely well. And I feel bad because people ask to come with me, and I always have to tell them no, and I always have to explain to them this is why I don't chase with other people anymore, because I've had these incidents in the past, and chasing is a very intimate hobby. You have to know your person very well. when you're chasing, you are married to your chase partner, and you two have to click like that. And if you don't, there's going to be problems. So absolutely, I feel bad telling people, but no, I don't take people out that I don't know anymore. And kind of Brinley was an exception to that rule when I first met her, because I didn't know her at all. And the reason I still went out with Brinley was because she was chasing with Lawback. And I saw, okay, if she's a regular chase partner of Lawback's, then she's good enough for me. So knowing that, if those two work, then she's going to be great on the chase. But yeah, I'm really picky about who I chase with.
Yeah. Shane, how about you? What's your role on ride-alongs with people?
Absolutely not. I don't do muggles. Muggles are living in the muggle world, and chasers live in the chase world, and they do not mix.
Yep, that's pretty much how it goes. I mean, same with me. If I don't know you personally, no way. Unless
I
you're
don't
gonna
need to
pay me
miss
a lot
a
of money.
day of my life because you had to piss because you don't know how to plan your bathroom breaks because you're not a fucking chaser. Chasers know how to plan bathroom breaks. They know how to plan meals. They know how to, hey, guess what? This food is my favorite, and I want to eat it because I'm starving, but I know if I eat it in 2 hours, I'm going to have to shit all over everything. They know not to do that during a chase. People don't know that. Muggles don't know that, so fuck Muggles. No way.
Pretty sweet and simple there, yep. Yeah, it's kind of the thing there. You just don't want to. You can't have anyone that you can't fully rely on. Not just their driving styles or whatever. I think another thing.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that I don't like either is there's usually you kind of get two different types of people that are kind of along with the ride along. There's people that think it's really cool and won't shut up, or there's people that are freaking the hell out because they're that close and they won't shut up. So,
and you want to shoot both of them in the head.
Yeah, either one. You just want to leave. You want to kick them out the door and just leave them there and let them hike back to town.
Or you have the guy when you have 3 or 4 guys and you don't have the money for a hotel, so you're doing a marathon. You're doing a 24 to 27 hour round trip. You know it going in. This is how we did it back in the day because hotels were unheard of in our early years. So we would do these 24 to 27 hour trips to Illinois, Missouri, take shifts, and there was always that one guy, and it was the guy that owned the car, which was tragic, he could not be trusted to take his turn. So basically one of us had to stay awake for our turn to drive and his turn to drive, or we would all be dead and I wouldn't be here right now.
Yep. Well, interesting subject. And I think it's one that's very important, especially people coming into the hobby. They need to know this stuff. Because I know there's a lot of new people. I think there's a whole thread in Storm Track for chase partners where a lot of new people come in and say, hey, can I tag along with a veteran or whatever? And I don't know if people just ignore that thread or if it's all done through private messaging, but there's really not much traffic when it comes to the veterans posting in that thread, and I think that's probably the reason why. I think we all know now just the nature of the hobby and how many kooks and crazy people are out there, and you just can't trust anybody really unless you really know them personally. So, cool. Yeah. Anything else before we change subjects on chase partners or chasing solo, guys?
Satisfy yourself, and don't worry about hard feelings because that won't go away. But you missing a great tornado because somebody that you know for 5 minutes fucked you over, that will last you a lifetime. So don't even compromise.
Sure. Anyone else? Skip? Anything?
Yeah, I like to chase solo, and I've rigged my van so I can do it effectively. It's a whole different ball game to me than chasing with another person. I like it in some ways, and I dislike it in others. But yeah, again, chase partners are great for splitting money, great for sharing the moment, but you're married to your chase partner. So I feel like maybe we even need like a chasing dating site where you kind of get to meet your chase partner and you go on a few dates, and then if you're a compatible match, then you go out there and you chase together. So it's platonic. It's not.
Yeah.
It could be platonic though if you're dating. It's like, do you like multiple orgasms and big wedges?
Yeah.
Oh man, you make me moist and unstable.
You have the personality of my last girlfriend.
Okay, so Skip, if you want to jump on that dating site, I think we'll all appreciate it. So, all right. Well, let's move on to this next subject that we were going to talk about today. Shouldn't be too much of much going on this subject, but I think a lot of people have different views on this. So let's talk about what it takes for you to call a season successful. I kind of feel like my last, well, I guess since 2010, 2011, 12, and 13 have been, and 14, really subpar, mostly the tornado count, and just a lack of really good chases. So it's hard to call those successful chase seasons, especially after like 2010, where multiple tornado days, every single rain shot to tornado kind of year. So yeah, let's kind of go around and we'll talk about this. Let's start with you, Steve. What does it take for you to call a season successful?
Well, it kind of depends on my attitude when I go into the year. Until I went to Montana back in 2012 and see that supercell up in Loma, Montana, I'd always was about the tornado. Tornado. It's not successful if I don't see X amount of tornadoes. Anything from a bird fart to a big nasty wedge. But when I went up to Montana and seen this beautiful sculpted supercell like I've never seen before in my life and I've not seen since, then my whole attitude changed. And I don't have to be super close to the tornado. I'm not one of those guys that doesn't do much for me. I want to get close enough to see what's going on, obviously. But I don't need to be in it, literally. So for me, whatever you set your goals for being that year, and this is usually the time I start thinking about what do I want to do differently that I didn't do last year? What did I want to do that I didn't get to see last year or didn't do, or whatever the case is? And that's usually what I try to judge that off of. Like one of the things for me this year is, I'm not going to mess with the video as much as I used to in the past. I'd always sell my own video, deal with the networks, do all that. Took so much away from chasing. This year, I just want to mainly focus on chasing, and if I sell something, that's fine. If I don't, that's fine too, because I'm not in a position where I have to sell it. But for me, if I can see some beautiful sculpted supercells, I'm okay with that. And if I see a tornado, that's just cherry on the top. And that's kind of what my goals, I guess, would be maybe for this year. And some of those things that I didn't do last year and the years past that I want to do this year, I guess.
Yeah, that's one thing I think I kind of look for every year is just to kind of improve each year and add something to my repertoire that I guess I've never seen before.
Sure.
There's a lot of that. Every year, there's something that happens every year that I'm like, if I would have got on that storm, I would have been able to mark that off my list. I'm sure for a lot of people that didn't see it, Pilger would have been one of them. Seeing two massive at the same time, that would have been one off my list that I'm sure it's going to be kind of a rare occasion to get that opportunity again.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And that's the thing about, like last year, if you didn't chase those 3 days, what you seen was probably pretty limited. And, like I said, that day for sure for us, we got up there, and because of the road network and the river, we got landlocked. The town was wiped out already. We've seen the two tornadoes on the ground at the same time, but it was over some trees. So, I was like, okay, I want to do this differently next year, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you kind of botch an opportunity like that, you kind of want to just do it over again and hopefully get another opportunity the next year pretty soon so you can try it again. Shane, let's jump to you. What makes a season successful for you?
I'm all tornado. I'm like Steve. I'm like the anti-Steve. I gotta have tornadoes. Gotta have them on video. Gotta have good video. Gotta have doable footage that will make and create new DVD chapters for future offerings, and that's what I do. Every chase event, where most chasers look at it synoptically or the mesoscale to see what kind of storm am I going to get, where's my target. I'm thinking, cool, what kind of video am I going to get out of this? Because I look at every tornado day chase setup as a potential DVD chapter. That's all I do. if DVDs, if we woke up tomorrow and video cameras didn't exist, I wouldn't chase.
Wow. So, yeah, it's pretty cut and dry there. Strictly for video, strictly for good video. You know that, like I said, that's kind of different people have different.
I'll be the only one. I'll be the only guy in 5 years videoing and not photographing.
There you go. How about you, Skip? What does it take for you to have a successful season?
I feel like I'm going to be really sad or sullen if I don't get at least one nice photogenic tornado every year. I could probably chase 20 or 30 times in a year, and if I get just that one day, Pilger is kind of extreme, but just Pilger makes the season. So yeah, anything like that. That one event makes it for me. But again, chasing has kind of become this like lifestyle for me. Like Brindley and I kind of go out there and we kind of do the chasing life. And to me, just living as a chaser and doing all of it makes it for me. It's hiking the Badlands. It's driving down I-90. It's the forecast. It's sitting under a storm. It's having a great meal in a funky little motel. If I had like 30 chases of those in a year and no tornadoes, I would still be happy. But I would really like that pretty tornado to really make the season for me. And all the other tornadoes to me are like frosting on the cake. They're a bonus. So.
Yeah, you know, we talked about this last week, or maybe it was the week before. I'm already losing train of episodes, but that was the week before. Yeah, we talked about kind of the lifestyle and the feeling you get of being a chaser, kind of going through a different day-to-day than everybody else. So, James, how about you? What does it take for you to call a season successful?
For me, it's not necessarily very cut and dry. I'm kind of a Skip on this one. I love supercells, and seeing a lot of supercells in years. It's a great year, but I need to have a few tornadoes. I can't, like this past year, I had goose eggs. If I have another tornado this year, next year, I'm going to be in a bad place. So I kind of need to have a nice mixed bag of decent supercells and then supercells with tornadoes thrown in there. And tornadoes are just a little bit more important in my mind than just seeing like a wimpy little LP out there in Southwest Oklahoma.
Making me proud.
I try every day.
So I think Shane kind of answered this, and but I have a question for everybody else. If for whatever reason, let's say you're in a hurry, you got something to do, work to do or whatever, and you're kind of on the last minute to get out the door to head to a chase that's quite a ways away. Let's say 3-4 hours away, and what do you do, or will it ruin your chase if you totally forget your cameras? Well, just like let's say you're driving out there, you're almost there, you're like 30 minutes from your target. There's no way you can just go home, but you're close enough to the target that you can stay, and you realize you left your cameras at home. You're looking through your car, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I left it right by the door or whatever. You're in such a hurry. Does that ruin your chase? And like, let's say, okay, and of course if it's like a crappy day, crappy setup, kind of a marginal day, I can see how that would. But let's say this is that photogenic day. Let's say this is that one day that will make your year, and you forgot your cameras. How do you act? How do you react? What do you do? Do you just hope that the pictures on your phone come out better or come out good enough to work? Let's start with how about you, Steve? Run yourself through that scenario and tell me what's going through your mind.
I can't probably say what I'm saying to myself in my mind as the moment I realize what I've done, but I've been there, and I've only been there once. Luckily, I got bailed out. It was a tripod issue. Everybody loves shaky tornado footage. It's everybody's favorite, and gives it that real effect, But, oh yeah, there's a lot of it out there, And but yeah, that it would pretty much ruin my chase. I mean, I'd be kicking myself, and then if I do see that photogenic tornado, thinking, what, man, if I just had my tripod or whatever the case was, I've had to pull my cell phone out and do it because I had a problem with the camera. So, I've been there, but yeah, it pretty much would ruin my chase, to be honest with you, knowing I probably couldn't sell it or do anything with, other than just, hey, look what I got, If you can suffer through the Blair Witch Project tornado, you might be able to watch it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Shane, how about you? What's running through your head when you realize you forgot your cameras at home?
It would ruin my day, and I would go into the next town not to celebrate like I would normally in a bar, but to just find the first person I saw and kill them.
Salt that.
Oh man, poor souls, poor whoever that is in the next town. Feel sorry for them. Some guy mauling you.
No, it's not because, and it's all me because I'm an idiot. I mean, that's just me lashing out at an innocent person because of my deficiency. So yeah, the chase setup, like the actual event of my life, and I couldn't document it, would basically, why was I born? That's how I look at it.
Okay, so yeah, like let's just say for instance, you were right there, you were 10 minutes from Rice, Texas, and you realized you didn't have your cameras with you.
Here's the thing. If I turned around and left and didn't witness the event, it wouldn't sting as bad. If I saw it happen and then couldn't document it, I would have to kill myself.
Yeah, that's brutal. It's a brutal thing. I've had to do it a couple times. I've had equipment failure out on the field where my video camera broke.
You know, I had it back in '98, back when I needed it, back when I was stupid. I mean, really stupid and really dumb, and didn't know anything. And it was the tornado of my career at that point, and we missed it because I didn't have a video camera because my partner didn't understand that tornadoes happen in October, not just May, because he was a fucking idiot. And the guy that took pictures, the exposures, it was twilight, it didn't work out. So while the chaser in front of us at Walgreens had his pictures all awesome and he showed them to us proudly, when our packet was delivered to us, ours were all overexposed and we had nothing. And that chaser was Scott Axelson and his buddy, a guy named Reed Timmer. So, awesome.
Oh, a good friend of yours, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's a whole other show.
So, Skip, how about you? Run yourself through. Let's just say this. Let's say you had complete camera failure for June 17, 2010.
Oh, my God.
You had no cameras except for maybe your cell phone. Do you just go home, or do you just continue to chase it?
I chase. I continue the chase, but a piece of my soul would die. Absolutely. I'm absolutely with Shane. And you know, it wouldn't be, I wouldn't be murdering people. It would just be me. I would just die on the inside. I would be a hollow skeleton.
Skip's just a nice guy.
So that almost happened. Just to save gas, just because of logistics reasons, I was toying with the idea of not bringing the camera dome on June 17th and taking somebody else's car. And had I done that, I might have walked into the tornado or something. So yeah, absolutely, and it's happened before.
I have that video. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've lost days due to cameras. My third tornado, the camera wasn't running, and that kills me a little bit. There was a day in New Mexico last year where we were eating dinner, and all of our stuff was in the hotel room, and we saw a storm going up and wanted to meet up with the COD guys that were still on the storm. So we drove out there and left all our stuff in the room, and it was one of the prettiest storms we had seen all year. And we had no cameras except for Lindley's iPhone. And you kind of say that, you know, if you had your phone, and to me that's a nice consolation prize to have your phone. And I'm kind of coming from the position where, what if I had nothing? And to me that's much, much worse.
Oh, yeah.
To me, it's like You saw Bigfoot. You've got proof that aliens exist. Nessie came out of the water, and you're just holding up your phone and taking a picture of it, and now you've got it to show everybody. And what? Nope. You forgot your phone in the hotel room, and there's Bigfoot walking past your tent, and you've got nothing except your story. That's what it's like to me.
And he's blurry.
So,
yeah, that's a pretty good analogy. I mean, when you put it that way, yeah. Sometimes we kind of take these for granted because now these are becoming very advanced in terms of the cameras, and the cameras are starting to become, DSLR grade cameras basically on those things, and that's a consolation. That's if that's all you got, then that's all you got. That's good though. James, what about you? I'm not sure what you would call your best chase yet, but let's just say it. Wherever it was, you didn't have a camera.
Yeah, so I would probably say the lacrosse day in 2012. If I had missed those tornadoes without, even with this piece of crap camera, I don't know. There's a wildlife refuge nearby. It's kind of a swamp area. It's called Cheyenne Bottoms. They would pull my car out of there with a crane, later that week when they finally found me. It would not be okay. Even though a lot of them were at dusk and I didn't get amazing photos of them, but I got photos where it's like, yeah, that's a good-looking tornado. I would be pretty pissed, and at that point I had a little dinky-ass flip phone, so I would have been double screwed.
Yeah. I think my career date would have been that May 24th, 2010, and if I didn't have my camera then, yeah, I would have been screwed. I actually had a day in 2010, April 20th, 2010, Bushland, Texas, which is literally 4 miles from where I work. There was a tornado that dropped down there, and it was a C-Tex day. Didn't look like much was going to happen, so all my cameras were at home, and the storm went up, and it dropped south, and it looked really good, very nice supercell. I didn't have anything except for I was looking through the shop that I was working in, and I found just a little point and shoot, like that big, just this little crappy point and shoot. And I ran out there, and sure enough, that storm produced a tornado. And I had pictures. It was just so crappy. It was like 4 megapixel pictures, and they just looked like crap. But sure enough, luckily I had something there. So, so let's talk about your most successful chase season to date. What year it was, and tell us a little bit about why that was your most successful season. We're going to start with you, Steve. Most successful season to date.
Let's see. Probably going to have to go with last year. Between Roselle, Bennington.
That was 2013. That's not really last year.
Well, yeah, I'm behind here, I guess. But last year, obviously, for me, wasn't too bad. I chased those 3 days up in the Northern Plains and did okay up there as well. But probably 2013 for me, just because of the photogenicness, I guess, of the tornadoes themselves. For that season, it seemed like every tornado I got on, they weren't grungy crap, rain-wrapped garbage. Most of them were photogenic that I captured that year. So that would probably be the best for me. And of course, Bennington, it just sat there and did almost a figure-8 pattern for almost an hour. You could have done every goofy pose in front of you. It was a selfie city with that thing. But that was probably my best year to this point.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice tornado. I guess that could have made your season. Just a big nasty wedge sitting in one spot for an hour is not too bad, I guess. Shane, I don't know if you're with us. I think you were saying you don't have any more sound. Are you still good? I'm going to say no. Okay, so he's having some issues. Skip, your best season and why?
2010, chase-wise, best season. Why? Two top chase events in fairly close order was Baudo, and then June 17th. And probably about 20% of my career tornadoes on just those 2 days. And so yeah, there was that, and chased a lot. Had a really good season. Had some other tornado days that day. I had a lot of fun. I was living out of my van for a lot of those trips, just camping, chasing on my own. One of my favorite memories from 2010 was after the chase, I wound up in western Kansas, and I was camping in the van, and I just decided to lay on the roof that night. And I just laid on the roof of my van staring at the stars, and it was perfectly balmy. It was like 72, 75 degrees, and just perfectly calm, no bugs, could see the stars, there was lightning in the distance. Just a lot of really fond memories from 2010. But yeah, that was probably my best season.
Yeah, I would have to say that was probably my best season, 2010, just for the simple fact that a lot of great tornadoes in the vicinity of the Panhandle. Got a lot of good pictures and videos. Of course, I was just starting out, so my equipment wasn't really up to par, but still got some good stuff from that year, so probably my best. James, how about you? What's your best season and why?
I have kind of actually an unorthodox one. 2012 was my best season, and probably will be unless 2015 does something insane. I think anyone remembers from the first episode, I described 2014 as a sandwich with 2 pieces of really good bread with a pile of shit in between them. 2012 had like the good lunch meat in between those 2 pieces of nice bread. I got my first tornado on March 2nd in Kentucky, which was surprising as hell that I managed to see a tornado that day, and it was probably 30, 45 minutes after the Henryville tornado, and it was nice little rope came swinging out of this fast-moving monstrous HP supercell, and then in the middle of my chasecation out to the plains in late May, got the lacrosse day, got multiple tornadoes, a few after dark that were really nice. And then I capped off that year with a panhandle chase in mid-October. I think it was October. It was the day before OU Texas, like October 12th. And saw a few little bird parts, but saw some really nice supercell structure and got a really awesome lightning show outside of Floydada that night. And there were just kind of a few nice little chases sprinkled in there during the summer, and got some cool squalling greenage shots, stuff like that. It was just an all-around good season. I only busted maybe 2 or 3 times. Never had a blue sky bust that year. It was pretty great.
Well, that's yeah, I remember that year. It wasn't actually too bad. I mean, I actually did do pretty well that year, 2012. But I think just the quality of the chases were kind of poor. Still not a bad year, I guess. I had some pretty massive equipment failure on the best day of that year to me, which was April 9th. That was up near Woodward.
Yeah.
My camera got. I'll talk about this on another show, I guess. But I was recording the first Woodward tornado, and a piece of it hadn't have been more than like a quarter size hailstone smacked my LCD screen at just the right angle that it broke the LCD screen. So I had a video camera where I couldn't see what I was recording. I couldn't even tell if I was recording. I couldn't tell if I was in focus or anything. So I tried to record the rest of the day, but nothing else came out very well. And yeah, that kind of sucked. And that kind of ruined the rest of the season because I had a video camera that it didn't work too well. And of course, if you remember 2012, April was pretty active for that year. So I got screwed on that, but eventually I got it. I fixed the camera eventually, and then I ended up losing it last year. So I don't even have that camera anymore. So, But all right. So yeah, I mean, I guess for everybody, there's different factors that come into play when it comes to successful season. And like you said, James, it could be a pretty bad season that could actually be pretty good. And I think people could even say people that have chased 10 years plus could say that 2014 was their best year if they chased the right days.
Yeah.
I think we talk about that a lot, and that's it doesn't matter how many tornadoes there are per year. It just matters that there are going to be very photogenic supercells with photogenic tornadoes. You just have to be there. So all right, so let's skip on over and kind of go to a lighter side subject here. of course, there's a lot of things to do besides chasing when you're out on the plains because there's a lot of times where there's really not much to do. There could be down days, cat bus, stuff like that. There could be kind of a between day, between 2 days. Steve, I don't know if you remember 2009 where you guys were out there in Wyoming. Then we kind of had that cat bust the day after and didn't have much to do. And kind of had some mediocre days in early June before we finally got that tornado down in Missouri on June 10th.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I went home and got fired from my job.
That. But
So-
you got your Missouri tornado checked off. So.
Yeah, I got Missouri tornado checked off, which is kind of rare, I guess, in some sense. But so let's talk about some things to do, some places to eat, because we're all humans. We need nourishment, and some chasers can get away with just eating a bag of chips and a Dr. Pepper for dinner. Some of us prefer to be a little more like a princess, I guess, and have better food available. So let's kind of talk about some different places around the Tornado Alley to eat. I have a couple suggestions, especially here in Amarillo. I think a lot of people kind of think that the Big Texan is the place to go in Amarillo. It's kind of like the stereotypical Texas steakhouse with all this goofy shit on the walls, and everyone's like, yeah, let's go there, blah, blah, blah. Pay $15 for a steak that's really not that great.
No.
You're kind of paying for the novelty of being there. I will say that the Big Texan has really good breakfast buffet for you chasers in the Panhandle or any chasers that come to the Panhandle for the morning of. Pretty good buffet there. But if you want a good steak in Amarillo, you'll have to go just south of Amarillo to a place called the Lone Star Grill. Probably the best steaks I've ever had in Amarillo. Everything's cooked over mesquite wood instead of just a regular grill. So really good flavor. They know how to cook it right. But that's my pick for best steak in Amarillo. I don't know about Steve. Do you know any good places out there in Kansas or anywhere that we need to know about?
Well, there's a place in Hayes. It's downtown in Hayes. And I want to say I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'm drawing a blank, but it's a brewery type place, and they have steaks, and they have some of the most amazing steaks that I've ever had. I've done not the Texas Roadhouse thing, but the steakhouse in Amarillo, and it's just the Big Texan. It's just it's terrible in my opinion. But I had been there late at night when probably the food quality goes down as they see a horde of 20 people come walking in. So you got to take that, with a grain of salt and see how that goes. And that brings up another subject. You go to these restaurants, and a lot of times we're showing up at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and they're getting ready to shut the door. Do you walk into this place knowing that in 15 minutes they're going to close? Me personally, I'm not doing it because I don't know what they're going to do to my food.
Yeah, I think we've always been moving waiting.
Yeah.
And I know people that beat on the door, it's 2 minutes till, and they're beating on the door to get in there. You know what they're going to do to your food. That just, nope, I'm not doing it. Me and you know about the Johnny's Steakhouse here in Iowa.
Yes, that was a great way to top off a bust was Johnny's Steakhouse in Red Oak, Iowa. Yep.
Yeah. So that's probably my two favorite places. There's another place out in Bennett, Colorado, right on I-76 if you're chasing June out that way. And they have like memorabilia from the local school, and their local mascot is the Beet Diggers, because I guess they grow beets out there. And not a high school, mascot you see every day is the Beet Diggers, but they have some really good food. It's just a greasy spoon, just like truck stop food type thing. It's no secret also. I'm a connoisseur of hoo-hot Mongolian. Because it's quick and it's fast, but it's not something you eat at noon. You eat that at the end of the chase if you can get in there before they close. Because what happens after you consume that type of food, I think you could figure out. So
yeah, you end up doing some cleansing, some deep cleansing.
Yeah.
Steve,
Toxins.
Steve, real quick, were you talking about Gellas?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it in Hayes. Yep. Because we went there after the Bennington day, and it was an awesome steak.
Cool. James, how about you? What do you got in mind?
Well, I actually have, so I've got two places I definitely recommend, and then two that I would say stay away from. The first, so the big one for me is if you're looking for like breakfast and you're in Southwest Kansas, in Liberal, it's called the Pancake House. It's just a pancake house. On the outside, it doesn't look, like it's going to be, really good or whatever. But some of the food they have there is like delicious. Like I have a picture pulled up right now. It's of an apple. I'll share it real quick. It's of an apple pancake. I mean, it just looks like you. I mean, come on, you can't beat that. It looks amazing, and it's covered in sugary goodness. It's pretty good. They have a whole wide variety of pancakes and crap. It's just a nice place to eat, and it also won't, tear you up before you go chasing if you're smart about it. Don't order like, 3 apple pancakes and expect to be okay later on in the day. And then for kind of like, because I know people Norman has a really, really shit selection of food that's not like fast food. There's a place up on Main Street called the Garage, which has pretty decent burgers, okay fries, and then if you're not a big burger person, you just want to go to like a general bar that has wide variety of bar food. The Mont, just off of campus on Boyd and Classen, I think it's a pretty good second option if you're looking to not eat fast food in Norman. So, and then for the two places I'd never recommend eating, they're both in Pratt. The first one is it's a breakfast place, and I'm pretty sure, I think it was in Tim Vasquez's book, Donald's Cerviteria. My God, if you want to make sure you can make it through an entire chase without making multiple pit stops, do not eat at Donald's Cerviteria. You will regret it in the end. Trust me, I know.
And it just sounds like a terrible place.
Yeah.
Love it.
You are asking for it if you eat there. And then the other one, we actually stopped. It was me and a whole group of other people. We went to this place called Woody's. It's on Main Street in Pratt. And, the reviews kind of like don't. It must have. I'm not sure if it was just a bad night or what, but man, the service and honestly the food were not that good. And if you're not into smoking, I would not recommend going to this bar because it is pretty disgusting. So, yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, there's a couple of suggestions. Skip, you got anything for that subject?
Yeah. You guys may or may not know, but Brinley and I are vegan, and we didn't always used to be, but so we're always on the lookout for good vegan spots, and we found some in the plains. And I don't remember the names of them, but just the towns where we found them. There was one in Davenport that was good, and I'm trying to remember where else. But anyway, for the normal chaser folk, one very fond dining experience I have was in Hot Springs, South Dakota. We were chasing upslope storms off the Black Hills, and we wound up in Hot Springs. And it was during Sturgis, so every place was booked and swamped in a zoo. We found this funky old hotel in the middle of Hot Springs called the Braun Hotel, like an old stone building from like the 1800s, right there on like the little creek that runs through town. And we went in there, just perfectly our style. We're always looking for these places with character. And we went in, the place was packed, but we got a seat out on the outside patio terrace. And it was a gorgeous night. It had lights and trees, and it's right on the little river that runs through town, and it's stone, and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous out there. We waited 2 hours to get our food, but it was the best time ever because we just sat outside sucking down a bottle of red wine, waiting for our food to get there, and they had a deal going, $9 filet. So back when we were still eating meat, we scored ourselves $9 filet dinner, and it was great. Excellent dinner. Loved the meal. It was one of our best times eating out, and so I recommend that place, Braun Hotel, funky little hotel in the middle of South Dakota. Yeah, other than that, we're always just looking for places. It's the fallback for us is always Subway. Any town with 2,000 people or more has a Subway. You can always get a nice, healthy meal at Subway. And even if you're not vegan, like having a nice fresh sandwich doesn't leave you feeling like crap later during your chase. Doesn't make you feel run down and tired like if you eat a bunch of greasy stuff, and it doesn't give you the shits or anything. So yeah, Subway for us, and otherwise we're bringing a lot of our food. But yeah.
Yeah, if I know a good vegan place here in Amarillo. If you guys ever come back down here, it's on 6th Street, which is like the old side of town, but it's called the 806, and their whole menu, it's all vegan.
Nice.
And it's just little things like pizzas and pitas and hummus and stuff like that. They also have a lot of different beers and wines that they serve, coffee and tea, kind of like just a really chill place to go after a chase and just relax. So there's that. If you guys ever come to Amarillo, I'm gonna name off some really good places to get burgers, because I think a good burger after a chase is just as good than a good steak, and especially because around here the steakhouses fill up quite a bit in the evening, so it's kind of hard to find a good place. Golden Light Cantina on 6th Street, really good burgers. Cowboy Gelato has really good burgers, also on 6th Street. They also have authentic gelatos there too that they make. Coyote Bluff Cafe, probably the most rundown looking restaurant in Amarillo, but it is awesome. It was actually featured on Man vs. Food. They have what they claim is the spiciest burger in Texas, which I don't recommend probably eating that before a chase, because that's going to really slow you down, being the spiciest burger in Texas. But that's really good. There's a lot of other places in Amarillo that's really good on burgers. Malcolm's is a good place to go get a burger. Trying to think. I think there's another one. Texas Blue Sky is another good place. So that's for burgers. I would recommend that stuff. Another place I think is a place in Goodland, Kansas called On the Bricks Cafe. It's on the old brick Main Street. Really good place to get breakfast. We went there last year, just the day after May 21st, the Denver day. We stayed the night in Goodland, got up, went to that place. Really good breakfast. I highly recommend it. So, and I think a lot of chasers end up in that general direction. Northwest Kansas is kind of a place that everyone sort of ends up kind of waiting for the system to come in. So, highly recommend that place. So, now I guess for you guys, do you guys ever go visit towns that have been hit by tornadoes previously? And I say that like I think every year somehow I manage to get myself into Greensburg a few times to kind of just visit. I mean, it's a really cool town to go to now. That little grocery store / gas station is a really cool place to just sit and wait for a storm to go up. So, but do you guys do that at all? We'll start with you, Steve.
As far as going to a gas station, hanging out, you mean?
Oh no, like towns that have been hit by tornadoes in the past.
Oh, gotcha.
Do you ever go back to visit to see kind of the progress of the rebuild or anything like that?
Probably the one that I have the most is, like you said, Greensburg. I've been to looked at the big well, how they've redone it, how they've kind of bounced back, and that's probably the most I've done is just go through Greensburg. Of course, you think about Grand Island, the night of the tornadoes, and I have, they've got some stuff up there you can kind of look at too. That's been a long time ago, obviously, that was 1980, but I've kind of skipped around there and we've had some down days and things, but that's probably the extent of mine. I don't go out of my way. If I'm there, I'm there, and I'll go look, but if I'm not, I won't drive an hour, to go see it or anything.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. I kind of forget that Grand Island in that area did get hit pretty hard. Lubbock also got hit pretty hard back in the 70s. So, how about you, James? I think you had something else, I believe, for the subject, but.
Oh, for like in terms of towns I've been hit by tornadoes that I go back and visit, or.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Greensburg twice. One of those days, I think it was April 7th, 2013. We actually people I was with, we decided it was me, Brady, and another guy from down here. We decided we were going to go west of Greensburg because we were like north of Pratt, and we were like, nothing's going up on the dry line. We'll go check out Greensburg, and it nearly screwed us over because then storms did fire up north. I mean, I've been through Sweetwater a few times. I mean, Sweetwater gets gets wrecked on the regular, so kind of interested in that. And then one of my goals is I do want to eventually, visit Manchester, South Dakota, kind of see like the little monument. It's kind of interesting, like a tornado-made ghost town. Just kind of an empty space. I'm pretty sure there's like, someone built like one barn up there, but all the trees are still absolutely ruined from that tornado. And it's back in June of '03. And it's definitely somewhere on my, chasing bucket list to visit.
Yeah, how about you, Skip? Anything?
I drive through towns that have been hit, and I always take note of them, and it's always sobering and puts a lot of things into perspective. But I don't like to loiter in those places, especially when I'm in chase mode, because I stick out as a chaser too, because I have the cameras on my roof. So the one thing I don't want to do is look like a chaser gawking at the tornado hit town, and maybe they don't have friendly sentiments even towards chasers. So I typically don't hang around those places, but I have driven through them. Greensburg is always very impressive to see. I love the rebuilding that's happening there. But you drive past and you can see the streets, all the little blocks that are still empty. There's little streets and there's just empty grass plots, and that's always really emotional to see that. And we accidentally wound up in the Joplin EF5 damage path after a chase this year. We were in Joplin eating dinner, and there was a storm going up west of town, and we're like, we need to find a view of that quick so we can get pictures of it. And we were driving through town, and suddenly it opened up. There was a view to the west, just like an open area in the middle of town. Like, oh, this is perfect, great. We pulled into like an empty asphalt section, and we set up cameras and everything, and we were filming. And it wasn't until 10 minutes in that we even realized why there would be this open area in the middle of town. And we realized we were sitting on ground zero of the F5. So and that was kind of emotional too. Like, oh crap, that's why this is all open here.
Yeah, we actually, back in 2012, just after a year it happened, we actually ended up in Joplin as well. We weren't so much, kind of being sightseers. We were just kind of, we parked the Jeep and kind of walked around in that area. We were just across the highway from St. John's Hospital, just kind of looking around, and it took you back. It really took you back, as a person, just kind of puts you into perspective and everything. And not the whole reason, but one of the reasons I wanted to go was to kind of get pictures of how it was a year later. I had my camera in my hand. I didn't take one single picture because I couldn't bring myself to do it. There was probably the eeriest thing about that day too when we were walking around was, I was just sitting on some random foundation. I think it was like a AT&T store or something like that, but I was just sitting on the foundation kind of looking around. And I was joined, I think James Tyler was sitting with me, and I looked around, and the people that were driving by, they were not looking around at us. They didn't look at us. They didn't stare at us. They were all just looking straight forward. They were driving, didn't look around at all, and it was kind of a creepy moment, very sobering moment too. Shane, I see you're back in. Do you have anything else to add, kind of revisiting old places that have been hit, or if you want to add to the good eats, good restaurants kind of subject?
Well, like Skip said, it doesn't matter if you're vegan or vegetarian or whatever. Subway is always a great fallback. I mean, they're everywhere. They have something for everyone on the menu, and it's just a good kind of like a throw a dart. No matter what happens, we know we've got Subway kind of thing. As far as places that have been hit, we've been to Greensburg a couple of times since May 4, 2007, and like the world's largest hand-dug well museum. We've been to that little museum like shop, and you walk in, and I'm sure it's different now, but when we were there, it was like a year since it had happened. It was in 2008. The lady made no bones about the fact she wasn't pleased we were there when she found out we were chasing. and she wasn't even polite about it. But I don't blame her because it was her whole town that got ripped away. But yeah, we walked in and we're like, ooh, oh, postcards and looking at the well and stuff. She's like, hey guys, and and we told her why we were there, and she's like, oh, and got real cold and kind of shut off. And I'm like, it's awkward. And then you go into town, and what's
Uh-oh.
in the store, and you're all in line, and you're waiting, and like you've got like 6 chasers, 2 locals, 4 chasers, 1 local, 7 chasers, 3 locals. Eventually, you're in line at the store, and you're surrounded by people that aren't there to chase. They live there, and they know why you're there, and you can just feel them staring through you like a fucking razor. It's very uncomfortable. And what can you say? You can say nothing to them because they have every right to hold you in contempt or whatever. So, yeah, it's kind of awkward. And you know what? I went Subway. I'm going to go the other end of the spectrum. I don't give a shit what your fucking lifestyle is, what you like to eat. If you're starving and you're going to die and there's nothing out there, McDonald's. It's not going to kill you one time. It's not going to kill you one time. I had McDonald's yesterday for the first time all year. There was an incident about 4 hours later, granted, but I planned for it. And I was home, so everything's good. You got to kind of, you got to know your body. You got to know what you can handle. You got to know what the food is out there. You got to know what's going to do to you. But I mean, it's pretty. I mean, you have to. It's not even a case of yeah you can. It's a yeah you have to. If you're going to chase, it doesn't matter if you're like a weightlifter or you're a big fat shit or you're somewhere in between, kind of like me. You have to understand that there are going to be days when you're just going to have to eat shit, and you're going to have to figure out. You got to pick your battles, eat like the, it's like the lesser of evils. And, 2,000 fucking calories in one day in one sandwich isn't going to kill you one time. So, just kind of keep that in mind. I mean, we used to take our meals with us, but it's like you end up, it's cool for lunch, and then you end up at dinner and you stop on the side of the road or you're at a truck stop parking lot. You got a fucking giant cooler that's full of fucking like ocean wave, fucking splashing like ice cold water. All your sandwich shit's floating in water. It's just, it's not really. It doesn't work. It's like it's just one of those things. So, yeah. I mean, it's. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about now. But all I know is this fucking pork is delicious, and these potatoes are awesome, and this drink is delicious.
Good. So yeah, I think if you guys got anything else for that subject, speak up or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, I want to add to Shane's McDonald's pitch, actually. Actually, for vegans, it's not a bad spot, especially for breakfast. We hit up McDonald's. You go in and get oatmeal with fresh fruit, coffee, and, I mean, you can get a full meal there if you're ready to go. I mean, they make concessions for people with different diets, and there are options there. And almost everywhere. It's not a problem being on the planes. You can get stuff at almost every place. Like Wendy's, for example, you can get a baked potato. And another great option that I don't think chasers utilize enough is if there's nothing in town, go to the grocery store. Go to their regular grocery store where everybody shops. Then there's everything there that you could possibly want. And half the time, they even have a spot inside where you can cook it and eat it. Like there's a little kitchen or a little cafe or tables. I've done that already. Gone in, bought cans of stuff, opened it up, ate it right there at the table. They have a microwave. I mean, that's worked pretty well for us,
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I know that's something that I don't think a lot of people think about. I think they think it's too time consuming or something, but it really isn't. So, well, cool.
Main thing.
Yeah.
I mean, just the last thing I'll say about the food thing is I still to this day wonder where this whole state thing came from, because I don't know about you guys, but in my experience, it doesn't matter how good I did or how great the tornadoes were. I can't find a great steak at 10 o'clock anywhere where there's not some 16-year-old waitress worrying about her tip in the corner trying to push you out the door before you've even finished your appetizer. I don't get that whole thing.
Yeah, steak dinner, I don't know. I think I just heard from everybody, like, score a tornado, get a steak dinner. And at first I was like, wow, that sounds really expensive. And So then we started making alternates. We'd go to like, Taco Bell and get like their steak quesadilla or some crap like that.
Hell
Like, that's
yeah.
really-
If you find a steak and shake somewhere on the plains, you are set to go.
Yeah,
Steak
exactly.
and shake fucking rocks. Those fucking hamburger patties are seasoned and moistened with tears of children. It's fucking amazing.
Oh man. All right. Well, before we wrap up the show, James, I'll have you talk about this. Really interesting thing that's going to happen this year. Rich Thompson is going to have, and has announced that there's going to be some tornado forecasting classes in Norman. That's free for everybody, free for the public, and that there's going to be a live stream. So, kind of tell us more about that.
Yeah, so it's going to be held in the atrium of the National Weather Center. I assume they're going to set up like a table out front at near the security desk. Make sure you bring, if you're not student or whatever, what have you, bring your driver's license. They need to scan, the front desk will scan that and give you like a little clip-on ID thingamajigger. Also, it's probably going to be decently packed. It's going to be a mix of meteorology students, maybe professors, a bunch of other randos, weather geeks, what have you. Yeah, it's going to be, I think, spread out over a pretty decent amount of time. It's being set up by the University of Oklahoma student chapter, the AMS, so it should be pretty well put together, hopefully. And I think the other big thing too is like if you're going to come into the weather center, make sure you don't fuck around. The security guards already get enough of students bullshit. Don't mess around. Don't geek out too much. And it should be really informative, especially it'll kind of go through the start of the season, and you'll probably pick up some really useful tips.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the first day. I think it was like February 2nd.
It's next.
It's this upcoming Tuesday. It's next Tuesday.
Okay.
At this point, exactly what he said. Because I mean, speaking from someone who used to back in the 90s, before 9/11 fucked it all up for all of us. I used to walk on, I used to just like walk out of my front door like on Jenkins. I lived right next to the stadium. There used to be a store called Sooner Supret, which was the best store in Norman. It was awesome. I used to walk all the way across town to the old like golf course, NSSL lab on the north side, and you just walked in, and there was like a little old lady who was a librarian upstairs, and she just like would look up and say hi, and you did whatever the hell you wanted. You walked up and you could put your hands on these books that are so old, these daily charts from like the 1880s that have all that twine on them. You can't even open them; they're so old and fragile. I took it, I took that for granted because that's the way the world was back then. And now, like James said, you can't be a dick about it. You have to respect it. You have to fucking show up, have your shit together, and just do your part. You can't walk up there and show your ass because it's it's 2015, the world we live in. It's a government agency. Just go there, do your thing, do what they ask you, and get your ass in. It's not like it used to be back when someone like me literally could walk across town, wiping the sweat off my brow, nod to the little old lady behind the desk, and she'd like, go ahead, and I'd spend hours in there looking at shit. It's not like that anymore, so don't be a dick.
Yeah, and the other thing too, it's like especially like don't, even if you're on they won't let you off the first floor. Don't try to go upstairs. Don't try to go like up to the school on the 5th floor. The SPC on the 2nd floor, or whatever. And don't make an ass out of yourself because there are cameras everywhere. I mean, they will see you, and security, even to students, usually isn't that nice. I mean, I think we got in trouble for chair racing on the 5th floor.
That was me.
Yeah, that was me and Andrew were walking around on the 5th floor, and we were racing chairs around like the floors on the 5th floor around the atrium. And security did not take too kindly to that because we scuffed up the shit out of one of the walls because we couldn't turn. So
It's just the new girl. The new girl's the one that hates it. The old man was cool with it. He was like, who won the chair race? And then this new one comes in and he doesn't like anybody.
So yeah, just make sure you're careful. Don't do anything too stupid.
Yeah, and for those that can't make it personally to the show, like we said, there's going to be a live stream. I'm not exactly sure the channel yet.
Yes, I don't think you set it up quite yet.
Yeah, it says visit the OU Scams YouTube page.
No, there's a page up because it's got a countdown for like 9 hours
Okay, so yeah, there's
or
probably
9
I
days.
would
I don't know
imagine.
what it is.
Um, we'll go ahead and try to post that down at the bottom after the show. But yeah,
The YouTube username is OU Scams. That's the user that posted the video with the countdown.
okay.
It's like capital O, capital U, capital S, CAMS, OU Scams. It's like OU and then space scams. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, but definitely, if you guys want to check it out, I think it'll be good for not only just people beginning and not knowing much about forecasting, but some of the veterans. Some of us guys that have been in for a while, and it's good to polish up on some of the things that they say and maybe learn a few things too. So I definitely recommend that. It should be good. I think it starts next week and then it goes 3 weeks in a row, every Tuesday at 7:30. Forgot to mention the time, at 7:30 p.m. And then I believe it goes on for 3 weeks and then it takes a week off, and then it will go on for 2 weeks and then a break off, and then another, I guess, 3 weeks after, or the next 4 weeks after that, all the way until April 21st. So hopefully there's not any setups during those times so you don't miss it. But the great thing is it's going to be live streamed to YouTube, so that means that the channel will have it archived there for you to watch at any time. I think they were kind of talking about maybe recording it all on DVD and making it into a DVD package. I don't think that's official or anything, but that was kind of in the talks.
From what I've heard, I think Scams was maybe planning on setting up like a video camera in the back.
That'd be fucking amazing. Hell, I'd fucking film it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, I think there's going to be the live stream. Like, I guess it's already set up for a schedule. So definitely check it out, guys. All right. Well, something we're going to kind of do differently to kind of end the show. We're going to let all you guys kind of whore yourself out and get you guys some free plugins for your social media and your personal website. So we'll go ahead and start with you, Steve. We're glad that you can make it on the show, but let everybody know where they can find you and follow your work.
All right. Website's mesoextrememedia.com. I'm on Twitter at Steve Polley 76, Polley. And we've got a Facebook page, but I probably don't tend to it like I should. But that's about all the pimping I can do, I guess.
There you go. Shane, how about you? Let's hear your pimping.
Oh yeah, I'm a fucking pro whore. Let's see, www.passiontrust.com. It's my website. It's been around for 16 years. Go there, click on videos, buy my DVDs. They're awesome. They're shit that you not only haven't seen, never heard of. YouTube /Passion Twisted. That's my shit. Twitter @Passion Twist. You see the pattern here, and Facebook /Passion Twist. So that's pretty much me.
Cool. Skip, go ahead and whore yourself out.
Yeah. So let me see if I can share this page real quick. I don't think I can actually. Well, maybe I can. Hang on a second here.
You can. You probably can. Screen share.
So yeah, I got a website here, and that's at the bottom of the page here. www.skip.cc. That's my personal website. And so it's got all my chase stories and stuff on there too, and there's links to my other pages that has content. At the bottom there's my Facebook and YouTube pages. I got a lot of videos on there. I also help run a organization called Storm Assist, and this is a loose-knit group of storm chasers that kind of get together and raise money for storm victims. So what we usually do is pitch in videos and photos and make calendars and DVDs and sell them to raise money for storm victims. And we've donated somewhere in the area $50,000 to different communities over the years now. And I just want to let you know that if you're a storm chaser, we are interested in any storm chaser and anything you got. So we've got people from Severe Studios, from Chaser TV, from TVN, from Live Storm Media. All of those groups are coming together to pitch in their stuff. It's not a chase team or anything. And we're also right now looking for volunteers to help. So if you want to help out with Storm Assist, we need people right now really bad. We're looking at reorganizing. We're looking at restructuring to make this a viable organization that's going to continue on in the future. We've got to make some changes here to keep it alive. So That's all I got. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah. I've been part of Storm Assist. I've donated some footage. A couple of my shots made it in DVDs, but yeah, it's a really cool organization, cool idea. The money's going, to these communities that get hit throughout the year. So, and it's directly to them. It's not to the Red Cross or any other big organization that has an overhead to think about. They go directly to local church organizations and other small organizations in the town. So that's pretty good. I pretty much really don't care about horror. I think my only website I always put down here at the bottom underneath my name, which is the txwxchaser.smugmug.com. That's kind of my photo gallery. Somewhat chase reports are there too. My personal account on YouTube, Marcus Diaz, does have some storm footage, as well as other stuff too. And of course, at TGT Show to come follow us on Twitter. James, any whoring you want to do?
Yeah, I'm a massive man whore, so here I go. I'm just going to share real quick. I have a blog over here, thunderinskies.blogspot.com. Just kind of posts, most of my photos. I have, wrap-ups and summaries of most of my chases. Here's my 2014 chases, and wrap-up has all the days with, like, radar and stuff like that. And have a fun little countdown to the next season over here. It's a countdown to March 1st. We got 34 days, whatever. And then sometime soon we'll have our original site, tornadohandoff.com, back up that me and Andrew both post on, as well as our friend Nathan Curtis. So we'll have photos and various other accounts on there once we get that back up come March. So be on the lookout for that. Don't really have any social media that we use right now, so that's basically the full extent of it.
Cool. Yeah, so if you guys have anything for the show, tweet it out here at TGT Show. Also have a Facebook page, the Ghost Train Show, I believe is the name of it. I don't remember because I forget. But yeah, any suggestions, any comments, any negativity, if you want to tell me how much you hate my face, then I don't care. Just tweet it out. Make sure everyone sees it. We'll be on again next week at Sunday, 7:30. Not sure what the topics are yet. I'm sure we'll figure something out. We hope you guys enjoyed the show today. I'm very glad everyone could show up. Steve, very glad that you stopped by and came to talk to us.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Shane, always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. Anytime anybody, I'm here.
And of course, we always love it when Skip's here. He's got some really good insight about everything. So, and of course, James, we're just glad that you could make it this week.
Hey.
Yeah, James, I'm happy you have internet. Steve, nice to meet you, and glad to work with you tonight.
You too.
Also, yeah, you didn't make fun of my patchy beard yet.
Yeah. So James here is trying to become a man, it appears. We'll put that back. Look at that beard. It's like all patchy and not even full. Oh,
he's
man.
got a mange beard.
Yeah, I have a bat. Don't you touch me.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, James. One day you'll have something as awesome as this.
One day I'll be a complete man.
That's right. One day. So yeah, we had to take a stab at him because it's just patchy. You know how it is.
It's a dirty ginge beard.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, cool. I guess we covered everything we need to cover today. So again, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you, Marcus, for having us.
You bet. Thanks.
Not a problem. Remember, this show is for you guys and you guys over here too that are on the show. This is all about storm chasers and what we do, why we do it, and our opinions on different things. So we hope to continue this from here on out. So, but we'll go ahead and wrap up the show. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
See ya.